guys, my name is Mihir Joshi. Welcome to another episode of the MJ Show. Now, a few days ago, this is really interesting, and I love the power of the internet right now. A few days ago, I spoke about a show that I really am enjoying watching on Hotstar Premium. I've actually watched it from the first season that it came out in, and I was excited about it because I've been a massive Bruce Lee fan. So when I found out that there's a TV show that's happening which is based on a story that Bruce Lee had written at some point of time, I was instantly intrigued. And when I saw it, I'm a huge sucker for old period dramas as well. So it had everything that I probably would have loved in a TV show. And season one was brilliant, and season two started off just a few weeks ago. And I just spoke about it on Twitter a few days ago. And lo and behold, one of the lead characters of the show wrote back to me, and we just got talking on DMs. And I have him now to talk about this brilliant new show called Warrior, which, like I said, is on Hotstar Premium. You got to watch that show. It really is good. And let's find out a little bit more about the show from one of the lead characters, I'd say, in the show. His name is Kieran Bew, and I'm very happy to welcome him on this episode of the MJ Show. Hey, Kieran, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
See,
Glad to be here.
In my head, I knew I was going to get the last part wrong, but I was like, no. I know what the right thing is. But then my brain went to the part which I thought was wrong, and I landed up saying that. But Kieran Bew is here with me. So now, you know what? Rather than me talking about how much I love your show, which I told you on Instagram as well, I really do enjoy your show. Let's get people to know a little bit more about you. And what I do every time I have a guest on my show for the very first time, I do what I call the origin story. And I want to know, before we get into Warrior, I want to know the origin story of Kieran Bew. How did you get into being an actor? And I ask this only because before Warrior, you've done a whole bunch of really interesting roles, and you've been there in a lot of shows that people may have watched even here in India. I know you've got a massive fan base in the UK, but I know there are a lot of your shows which people have consumed here in India as well. So how did you get into being an actor? Let's talk about that.
That's a big question. I got into being an actor just through, school plays in the northeast where I'm from, in Hartlepool, in England. And I didn't really think at the time when I was doing them that it was really an option for me to be able to be an actor. It felt really far away, very unattainable, and like it was something that maybe, I don't know, other people who went to a different school perhaps had access to. And I was a bit lost up until that point. When I was leaving school, I'd really been a sportsman. I was a fencer. I was an epéiste, and I used to fence for Great Britain as a kid on the squad and travel the world and compete. And
wow, okay.
And that was what my focus was up until when I was about 17. And I did a couple of plays at school, but in considering what I was going to do for my higher education and potentially my job, I had encouragement, and people's response from the school plays had been very good. And I knew I loved it and I enjoyed it. And I'd spent all my childhood mimicking people and doing impressions and goofing about. Someone suggested maybe I try drama school, and I applied for the Royal Academy in London, and I applied for the London Academy in London. Lovely. And I applied for them both, it turns out, on the last day of applications that year. And I auditioned for them, and I got into LAMDA, the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. And that was it. Like I said, it felt unattainable. So just getting into drama school to me felt like a massive achievement. And I spent 3 years training at LAMDA, and it was an absolutely fantastic place to be. I was quite intimidated immediately because I did go to drama school with people who had, performed at the RSC, the Royal Shakespeare Company, as kids, or people who had already done TV.
Wow.
And people who lived in London who had watched plays and read plays and seen musicals. And I didn't personally have that access. I had movies and British comedy that I used to mimic, and that was my reference for stuff. And because of why when I was a fencer, everything I wanted, more than anything, I wanted to do like Three Musketeers, sword fighting, action stuff. Just like any kid, I just wanted to kind of be part of that kind of world. So I was at LAMDA for 3 years. I'm sure lots of people think their time at LAMDA was the best it's ever been, but I think I was at LAMDA at a really fortuitous time. I was at drama school at the same time as people who've gone on to have wonderful careers, and like Benedict Cumberbatch and Rory Kinnear, Dominic Cooper, Anna Axel Martin, and there's a huge number of actors from either side of the years I trained who are established and making great work. And so I look back on it fondly, and I'm really grateful I got in.
That's pretty amazing. And I guess that the fencing bit that you spoke about must have helped in a show like what was that? Da Vinci's Demons, right? Where you,
Demons, yeah.
yeah, you know, we don't get that show here in India, but I was able to figure out a way to stream that. Because again, like I said, I love historical shows, and I've actually seen that. And I think in Beowulf as well, you know, you must have your fencing background must have helped. And again, the action stuff that you worked on in Lambda must have helped you with Warrior as well, because while you don't have a sword in your hand, you do have to do a fair amount of action sequences in Warrior as well.
Yeah, exactly. Da Vinci's Demons was a fabulous show for Stars.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how people can get hold of it now, but it was a great show led by Tom Riley, who was another lad that trained at Lambda as well.
Lovely. Okay.
And I was playing a character who was the Duke Alfonso. He was a prince of Calabria in Italy. And it was a fictionalized version of him, of course.
Yeah.
And I had sort of twin samurai swords on my back. And it was really fun. And Tom and I had lots of sword fights on pirate ships, and it was wonderful. And all of the training that I had at Lambda always comes in handy. But the basis that I had personally leading up to Lambda in combat and understanding what's safe and what's not, and how much you can push yourself, and the honesty of choreography as well, of coming at it from a position with questions that I've learn from competing, but also with an education of directors and teachers telling us it has to be a story, it has to be a narrative. The character has to be present through the action, otherwise it can be very dull and boring. And so that was true in that. Beowulf was Beowulf was fabulous. I got to learn to horse ride on Beowulf, and was more broadsword and shield kind of work. But yeah, of course, that's what you train for at a college like that. And of course, we've got great stunt teams on all of these jobs. And if people haven't had training and if they haven't managed to get to drama school, people are always taught and brought up to speed and given enough time. And the teams that we work with are always really diligent. But for me, like I said, as a kid, that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. So Warrior is a funny one for me because it was a departure. I'm playing, obviously, Big Bill O'Hara, who is a veteran of the Civil War. He's Northern Irish. He's lived in San Francisco many, many years. And he's seen a lot of violence and he's seen a lot of action. But in terms of what's called for my side of the action in the show, my choreography is very different to everyone else's. The guys who do kung fu in the show, that's their vocabulary. My character's vocabulary is again, it would be inappropriate for me to knock out some kung fu as a Northern Irish cop. So in many ways, it's quite nice for me. Training and preparing for fight sequences is really tough, and it's a huge privilege. And it's great going to work knowing that's what you're working on. And equally, it's great going to work with people saying to me, "Your character's called Big Bill, and you look like Yoga Bill. So could you eat some food? Could you just eat some more food?" So I really committed on Warrior to just not being the action guy. And committed to the stature of Bill and the presence of Bill, of being a guy who somebody said to me on set, actually said, "You're called Big Bill, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're not that big." I said, "Well, maybe they cast the role wrong, or maybe the name Big Bill is about more than size. Maybe it's effect or impact, or maybe it's something else that you can't see." Or, I was like, there are lots of ways that can be taken, but it does help. Of course, I do have action. There is elements of action.
There is,
but
of course. But it's more smash mouth, and it's more like it's not the brilliant, kung fu choreographed action that you see from the Assam character or the Funghai and all of the characters who do the martial arts part. It's not that kind of action, but you do land up. It's brawling. It's more than choreographed stuff. It feels like it's like a real fight.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's to give Brett Chan, that runs our stunt team and heads up all of that action, keeps us safe, makes us look good, keeps us fit, trains us. I mean, the amount of work those guys do is incredible. And
I can imagine.
thank God our show has been nominated for Best Action in the Critics' Choice Awards, which is fantastic, because I reckon I'd love to see the numbers in the other shows that are nominated for action compared to how much action our show puts out, because it is high level. And the way Brett works with us is exactly the way I was trained when I was at Lambda, which is it's character based, it's narrative based. What would your character know? What's their vocabulary in terms of action and physicality? And you can't use stuff you don't know. I mean, people can be prodigies and whatever, but Bill's an ex-soldier, he's a cop, and he has capabilities and he's seen stuff. But even Bill acknowledges it in season 1 and says, "My God, if everyone could fight like this, we'd be fucked."
You know what? Listen, speaking of somebody who knew how to use action in film and on television, it's the guy who has got his imprint on this show in a way, and I'm talking about this gentleman here, Bruce Lee. Yeah, I mean, I've been a huge Bruce Lee fan, like I told you guys at the very start. The show is his brainchild in a way. Can you explain a little bit more? Can you tell the fans who've heard that, okay, there's something to do with Bruce Lee, how exactly is it connected to Bruce Lee? And I want you to show them the cool thing that you just showed me a little while ago.
Okay, so yeah, Bruce Lee, as well as doing everything else he did, wanted to make a show years ago, and the studio execs wouldn't let him. At the time, they felt that a show led by an Asian actor, even an Asian American actor, would not hold audiences, and they wouldn't fund it. And then sometime shortly after, they made Kung Fu with David Carradine, and Bruce Lee's idea for that show sat in his notebooks for years and years until his daughter Shannon Lee found it, resurrected it, and started discussing it with producers. And Justin Lin, actually, from Fast and Furious franchise, was one who she was discussing it with, and started putting it into motion. And so really it's Shannon who has brought the show about, with the help of many others, Jonathan Troper, of course.
That's pretty
show running, the writer creator of Banshee, which I hope everyone's seen, because that is another fabulous action show which is out there for everyone to enjoy. But yeah, Bruce Lee conceived the idea for Warrior. Anyway, my name is on the bottom, which also got me very, very excited. And in it is a letter from Shannon Lee, very kindly welcoming us to the project, and then some copies of some of the pages of Bruce's notes from when he conceived the show. So
man, that is so cool.
This is Bruce's handwriting and sketches, and some of his type notes from from his notebooks. And this says the beginning on here, and other artwork that he'd drawn, signed by him.
That's his drawing?
I believe so. It's
Lord, man.
And I mean, I've looked at this a number of times, like especially right at the very beginning, and I've never asked Shannon. I could ask her. So if I'm wrong, I will happily stand corrected. But it has the effect on all of us.
Yeah.
It had the effect on all of us that I guess that was intended, which was to keep that in mind as we made the show and as we worked together. And where if people weren't fans of his work before, they caught up and we watched movies together as a company and we talked about it. But we also understood that what was being asked of us was to take his idea and make it into something else, make it into something that was relevant and was accessible to people. So the show is now this really full world that this story of Assam, is set in. And all the characters in the show, very, very well rounded by Jonathan and the team. They are human beings in that they are neither good nor bad.
Yeah.
They're flawed and they make mistakes and they're all struggling. And I think whether you look at whatever group of people that are in the show, everyone has other people leaning on them, and everyone seems to be trying to do their best. They might not all make good decisions, and I'm not excusing the bad behavior in the show, but I think it's a really amazing human story, as well as having the legacy of Bruce attached to it with the Kung Fu, with the message, and and also his philosophy as well. There are, if you watch carefully and you listen carefully through some of the heavy hitting themes, there's also a lot of other stuff to be mined from the show too.
I completely agree with you on that. I love how beautifully all the characters are developed, whether it's a Mailing or an Assam or an who's the lady who runs the brothel, Atoy, right? If I
That's right. Yeah.
Atoy,
Yeah.
and your character, and the other detective who's I've got the worst memory in the world. I love the show. I've seen every
Sorry.
episode, but I don't remember everybody's names. As in,
Yeah.
the other detective who works
Officer
with you.
Lee. Officer Lee.
Officer Lee, that's right.
Yeah.
I love how everybody's characters were developed. And when you talk about action, the episode in which Assam goes with the his Mexican lady to Mexico to fight. Holy shit, what an episode that was, man. Like
Yeah.
and we saw different styles of martial arts and that, everything from what Assam does to the Brazilian style of fighting. Then there's the Scottish guy, I think it was a Scottish guy, right? The big
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was brilliant. And now you guys watching me right now must think I'm an idiot, but that's all right. I mean, I'm an idiot because I don't remember every detail of the show, but I remember the action. It's there in my head, and rather than telling you everything, I'm just saying go and watch the show and you'll know why I am so excited, why I love the show so much, why I've been talking about it on social media. But okay, let's get back to Kieran. You do play a guitar as well. Tell me a little bit about your love for music. Just want to let people know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, I mean, like many guys who grew up in the 90s in Britain, I learned to play guitar and wanted to be in a band. And I think if I hadn't gone to drama school, I probably would have continued with that. We were playing lots of cover versions of various Britpop and rock bands in the Northeast before I went to drama school and became an actor. And actually, one of the things that we always talk about whenever I'm on a job is you always sort of gravitate towards the other guitarists and the other musicians and try and discuss whether or not you can do something. And we did that with Warrior, actually, because Perry, who plays Father Jun, he is an amazing musician. He can play guitar and he plays flute incredibly well. Jason Tobin plays and sings too. Joe Taslim is a self-taught pianist and guitarist. Wow. Jonathan Troper, who's our showrunner, actually is I believe, a self-taught pianist who does a mean Billy Joel impression. And Brad Caleb Kane, who is our wonderful executive producer who produced Black Sails and other things. Sweet. He's a singer. He can sing anything. He actually was the voice of Aladdin in the Disney movie Aladdin, and he sang the songs for that. So,
oh wow!
Sometimes when we got together as a company, we would try and get Jonathan and Brad drunk and persuade them to sing Eagles covers and stuff for us, and they were pretty amazing. But yeah, we started trying to form a band actually on Warrior, but it was too difficult because we shoot Warrior in actually quite a short space of time, and with all the action and things, it's a lot to take on. But we were trying to create a covers band, and maybe if we get another season, we will do that.
Man, that would be fun to watch. I mean, it'll be great bonus content for the YouTube channel for Warrior, and for fans to see you guys do something beyond the action. Show the lover, not the fighter side of you guys. That would be cool.
Yeah, we're pretty. We're all good mates, and we all train together and hang out together, and we all share music. I mean, well, continuing Bruce Lee's legacy.
That is pretty spectacular, man. That is really, really cool. And you know what? With the Star Wars universe expanding the way it is, with something like the Mandalorian coming on, who knows? Maybe your dream of being a Jedi also will come true someday. And as you can see very evidently, I'm a big Star Wars fan. Right above me, and right above the Star Wars poster is a poster signed by the entire Iron Maiden band. And I'm sitting in a room where I've kept all. It's been 16 years of me being in the music business. So right behind me, there's a CD signed by Roger Waters. There's a CD signed by Buddy Guy. There's a CD signed by Ian Anderson, by Engelbert. There are some comic books that have been signed by people. There are a whole bunch of WWE things that have been signed here. So, I mean, I'm a fan. I've been in the music business. I've been doing stuff, but I'm a fan, and I know how great it feels when you get to do the things that you love, the things that you've grown up watching. If you can be a part of that universe in some way, it's just spectacular, man. And I wish you all the best with that. I hope the show wins all sorts of awards this year, because it's truly a spectacular show and people should be watching. And again, for everybody watching right now, this is my genuine recommendation. I did not know Kieran until a day ago, but I've been watching Warrior for a long, long time. It's just the magic of internet that has brought us here together. But I'd say this even if I had not had him on my show, which is what I did, which is how we got in touch. Go watch Warrior. It's worth it. And if you can vote and make it win in various awards, make it win so that more and more people find out about it and watch the show, because it really is something spectacular. But once again, Kieran, congratulations on all the success that you've been having with this show, and I hope it just has many more seasons to come.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all your enthusiasm. There are 20 episodes out there for everyone to enjoy, and we would love to keep making the show. At the moment, we don't know if we're going to get to make a show, and making a third, fourth, fifth season is absolutely dependent upon whether or not people enjoy it and people watch it. So thank you for your enthusiasm, and I'm so glad you're enjoying it.
I am.
We love making it. We absolutely love making it. It's a riot.
I can imagine. And you know what? Listen, for everybody watching right now, also follow him on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm going to give his handles in the description of this video. This is the MJ Show channel. Subscribe to this as well. Hit the notification icon so that, whenever an episode comes up, you guys get a notification of that as well. But most importantly, watch out for Warrior. It is on Hotstar Premium. If you don't have Hotstar Premium, this, apart from all the Disney Plus stuff that is already on Hotstar Premium, is a great reason to get your subscription. And this video is not sponsored by Hotstar, while I think it really should be. For the amount of praise that I've given them and free publicity I've given them, I think that they owe me something. I don't know what that is, but we'll figure that shit out. But listen, you guys go subscribe to Hotstar Premium, watch Warrior, because it is brilliant. And once you see it, let me know what you think in the comments on this video below. And write to Kieran, write to everybody involved in the show, because all of them are there on Instagram and on Twitter. And I'm sure they'd love to hear from you, knowing that people here in India are also genuinely loving a show that is being made somewhere else in the world. But hey, Thank you so much for being with me today, Kieran.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
You want to give a message to your fans in India? Because believe me, there are bound to be fans in India. I can't be the only one.
A message to fans in India. I mean, I'm thrilled that we have fans in India. I didn't know, and now I do.
Now you do.
So thank you for watching. Please tell your friends and keep watching, because like I said, if you enjoy it, we might get to make more, and we would love to make more for you.
Listen, man, if 10% of people in India who have access to the internet start watching the show and say that it's good, that's got to give you a lot of viewership and enough reasons for your studio to say, hey, let's make another season, if nothing else, for the fans in India, because we got a whole bunch of people here in our country.
Yeah, look, I mean, tell us as well, like, what you like and what you enjoy about it, because the show is constructed by people that really care. And they're great. Our action team is phenomenal, and you can look the guys up on the internet and IMDb and see all the different shows they've been working on. Yeah. The attention to detail is phenomenal, and it's pretty cool at the moment. I've just started getting sent fan art from the show as well, which I have.
Oh yeah, you got that behind you, right? Can we see that?
I'll show you.
Yeah, show me that. How
so
cool
for instance, these are just like things that people have made.
That's
so
insane.
Like these retro posters.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, honestly, as somebody who just loves the genre and loves, I mean, they are absolutely magic. And these are just things people have made themselves. I don't know what to say about that. And I hope I don't seem like too much of a crazy fan myself, but I love being a crazy fan about stuff.
But thank you so much for spending time with me today. You know what? We should jam on a song someday, because now, thanks to the internet, we can do all sorts of fun stuff. Maybe do a cover of some song that you want. We'll jam on something.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. But for today, that's pretty much all the time we have for now. That is Kieran Bew. My name is Mihir Joshi. This was the MJ Show. I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, I'm Mihir Joshi, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so that you get a notification every time a new video goes up. Hit the like button as well. Leave a comment here for my guests and for me, and share it with absolutely everybody. We would really appreciate it. Make it happen.